Colombia is a third world country with many limitations, but I think I had a good life. I mean, back in the 80s, there were dark days in my country. You have to remember this guy Pablo Escobar. There were a lot of murders in my country back in those days. But I was living in a small town, and I could say that nothing happened in my hometown during those years. So my childhood and my years as a teenager were were how could I say that were full of tranquility, Pacific years.
Welcome, Oscar. Thank you for coming back to my podcast.
Thank you for inviting me, Raymond. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes, likewise. Thank you. So, my first question that I wanted to ask you was, so what was it like for you living in Colombia growing up?
What was for me? What? I'm sorry, there was something with the sound.
No, what I was saying, so what was it like for you living in Colombia as a kid growing up to
Uh,
an adult?
oh, okay. Well, I am 52 years old. I was born in 1973. So I was a child in the 70s, a teenager in the 80s, a young adult in the 90s. Well, Colombia is a third world country with many limitations. But I think I had a good life. I mean, back in the 80s, there were dark days in my country. You have to remember this guy Pablo Escobar, and there were a lot of bombs. There were a lot of murders in my country back in those days. But I was living in a small town, and I could say that nothing happened in my hometown during those years. So my childhood and my years as a teenager were were how could I say that were full of tranquility, Pacific years, I guess. So it was a nice childhood, I guess.
Okay.
All right.
So, what was your first job there?
Well, I started working when I was only 12 years old. I didn't need to work. There are many children who start working at a very young age, and they have to work because they need to work because their families are uh, sometimes dysfunctional. There are many needs, but that was not my case. It's only that a friend told me, "Would you like to work doing this?" And I say, "Sure, let's go, let's do it." So I was only 12 years old, and I started working at a supermarket, something like Walmart here in the United States, but the name in Colombia was Ley. That was the name of the supermarket. And I started working packing groceries in bags. I think the word is, I was a bagger. So I was bagging groceries for the customers. That was my first job. And as I told you, I was only 12 years old. And I still remember my first day because I only had my earnings were the tips I could get from the customers. And the very first day, I got 800 pesos. And that would be probably like getting here in the States, probably $200. So imagine $200 when you are 12 years old. That was a lot of money. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember 800 pesos back in those days. It was really, really good. And after that, I was probably 15 or 16 years old. And another friend, this friend was working as a security guy at the supermarket. And he told me, "Hey, I have this friend, and this friend is starting a company to deliver mail. It's a private company, right? Would you like to go there and work? You could make more money than here, da, 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 da." And that was my second job in my life. I was a postman, a mailman. As my friend told me, his friend was starting with that company. And nowadays, that company in Colombia is the second biggest company in Colombia when it's about delivering mail. So that guy, the founder and the owner of that company nowadays is a billionaire in my country, and I was working with him. He was my second boss back in those days. After that,
Okay.
I was always good at English in high school, and thanks to that, I was able to work at a radio station in my hometown. And because this radio station started playing rock music, pop music, music in English, so I have the opportunity to meet the director of that radio station. This guy saw that I had a good English if I compare my English with the rest of the people around. And I started working as a DJ at a radio station back in those days. That was around 1992, 1991, 1992, I guess. And oh my God, that was a great experience. Sometimes when you see, for example, in Facebook, people asking, if you had the opportunity to travel in the past, what would you like to do? I would say I would like to be a radio DJ once again in my life because those were for me the golden years working as a DJ at a radio station because you can meet a lot of people, a lot of girls as well. So it was good. Then,
Okay.
as I told you, I was good at English in high school. At the same time, I have the opportunity to work as an English teacher in private schools because I never studied to be a teacher. Well, to be honest, I went to the university in Bogota, the capital city of Colombia, but I only studied one semester and I quit. But in my country, back in those days, there were not too many English teachers. So if you had a good knowledge of English, it didn't matter if you had no the professional certification. You had the knowledge, so you could work. And that's what happened to me. I was able to work as an English teacher for several years. And finally, when I finally decided to go back to the university, I said, well, should I study to be a teacher? But I say, well, I don't think so because right in this moment, I don't have a degree, a certification, and I've been working as a teacher. So if I study to be a teacher, when I get graduated from the university, what am I going to do? Exactly the same, to be a teacher. And I said, no, I can study something else. And that way, when I get my professional degree, I will have two options. I can keep on being a teacher or I can start working with the career I studied. So I decided to study law and I became a lawyer. And I was working as a lawyer for probably 5 or 6 years. Let me tell you, yeah, 6 years, I guess, 6, 7 years. And that's when I finally had the opportunity to come to the United States. So I quit in my country because I was working with the judicial branch at we call it the Justice Palace, which is here in the state, for example, the court, right? The Supreme Court building. In Colombia, we call it the Justice Palace. So I was working there. I was the assistant of a civil judge, and I quit and I came to the United States chasing love because I met my wife, and well, here I am.
Okay. So I remember you was telling me about being a lawyer. So it's definitely hard from seeing you now compared to your lawyer picture that you showed me. It looks night and day.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, that's true. For example, 2 days ago, I was talking to a friend, a guy who studied with me at the university, and he told me, hey, do you remember this guy? Sure, I remember him. Guess what? He's now the mayor of a very rich town near my hometown. And this guy who studied with me, who is a lawyer too, he's now the mayor in that small town. So, oh my God, that's great. Yeah, sometimes I think, yeah, I would like to go back to those years to deal with lows and well, but I don't know. I mean, I'm happy here in the States. I have a family. I have a wonderful wife. So, well, I mean, sometimes you think you have a destiny, but sometimes God has other plans for you. So here I am.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, like I said earlier, thank you for coming back on to my channel. I truly appreciate it. It's always fun having you on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Raymond. It's always a pleasure to be here to share life experiences. And I hope these videos can also inspire other people sometimes to just leave things in God's hands, right? Sometimes you say, okay, God, I give you
Yeah.
my life. You can do with me whatever you want. I know you are not going to hurt me. Let's see. What's your plan? And that's what happened to me. So here I am with two beautiful babies, and I'm happy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Like I said, thank you again. I truly appreciate it.
Okay, 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 Raymond. Okay, bye bye bye.